My name is Wendy Moriyama, and I am the team leader of the wood design group. Wood design is a very unique category in itself. It often consists of people who are trained to make furniture. They're not limited to making furniture. We have the freedom to make work that is more expressive. We often use carving combined with furniture, but in a very contemporary way.
What I was very intrigued by was the idea of bringing something to life, so using materials from here. And for me, when I thought of this area, I was automatically thought of marionettes and wooden toys. So I'm making this abstracted puppet with multiple legs, and the torso shape has been inspired by some of the doors that I've seen here, very graphic. I was thinking the imagery of moving fast and also multiple persons within this sort of form. And the joinery I'm using is all bridle joints, which can move, but they're also joinery that has been used for thousands of years to put different pieces together. The way I interpreted change was the idea of transformation, of something being just a board and then coming to life.
Focused on this early American dowry chest that was built from about the 1650s to the 1725. So in the US and in a lot of other cultures, we don't do the dowry system anymore, but so a sort of contemporary iteration of the dowry chest is something we call a hope chest. So a lot of young girls grow up having a hope chest that they collect things and put them in that for their future life, for their marriage. The text that I'll use will be the word hope in 6 different languages. So I played off the idea of hope, basically like hope for change, or hope that we can understand each other and care for our environment. The chest won't function like a real chest. It's a piece of sculpture, and the panels actually are openings that go through the chest from front to back. So it creates this 3 passages through, and that's where the text will be.
The piece I'm doing is what's called a little library. And there's a trend in the US of people putting out little libraries on their front lawns or on street corners, and people can just come and take a book. And I think it's a really nice idea about education and about giving. And so I wanted to make a free little library, but I also wanted to make it with a theme. The theme is about the bees.
There are no bees, no food. And that has to change. We have to take care of these systems. That's what the bee house is about. It's not a place for bees to come and nest. So I made patterns and screens before I came, and then I screen printed large panels and cut them up. So at this point, I'm just kind of picking and choosing which pieces go where and hoping that it all comes together and doesn't look like a giant pattern explosion.
So I am on Wendy Moriyama's team, and she said that the theme of World Wood Day is change. And I started thinking of change makers, and Malala Yousafzai came to mind. She is a crusader for education for everyone, but especially for women. So that's why I chose Malala. And so the piece that I'm doing here at World Wood Day is a large piece. The art is two-dimensional, but I'm placing it in a three-dimensional setting, but it'll be hung from a frame and it'll have a lot of presence, I think.
I think that furniture and wooden objects are so ubiquitous, they're everywhere, and we forget to see it. So I love when I can make a piece that is familiar in that way, you don't think about it, but then it does something that's unexpected. The box that I made is made out of a piece I found in a dumpster in Vienna, so I use reclaimed materials in my work. Wood is a really remarkable material. We talk about how glass is recyclable, paper is recyclable. We don't talk about wood as a recyclable material, but it's infinitely recyclable in a tiny piece of wood. It may be small, but it has a lot of potential. In the piece I'm making right now, there's a small drawer box made out of wood, and when the drawer opens, it's going to have some maple seeds in it, and then a sort of a flag on the back of the piece. And when it opens, it will reveal an eye, a painted eye. So like the piece is suddenly looking at you.
Well, when I heard about the theme, I thought about it, and I was thinking of change, of modern versus traditional, and I was really inspired by the vernacular forms here and the shingles and the use of pattern present by overlapping the wooden elements. So that's what inspired my design. So the form that I'm making is a table that has a real straight rectilinear, vertical and horizontal. And so to contrast that, I have the wood-turned legs. And then also I'm going to be covering these surfaces with some slats that are painted to sort of reference the shingles that are on all of the structures here. So a sort of a modern interpretation of the traditional form.
The piece I'm working on now for World Wood Day is a folding screen with 3 parts. It'll have painted panels within the screen. I wanted to create a screen because obviously it's something that can change a space by dividing it in different ways. Life is about changing moments, right? So I thought for me, I could focusing on personal change and then trying to make it more general so it wasn't just about me, but really about the idea of the changes that people go through.
I do a lot of furniture that is functional, but often the function is a little bit subverted, or I play with the function to make it sometimes a little bit more challenging to use so that you have to think about the function. I'm especially interested in seating and the way seating can organize people and create community and mediates relations between people. I usually start with thinking about an idea, and then once I have an idea that I think is interesting, then I start to think about what is the object that will communicate my idea. The change for me was using wood from the hillside without doing any woodworking on it. But I think the change part would be in terms of changing our relationship to the forest and to wood and how we think about it.
Well, the piece that Yuri and I have been working on is something that has just evolved since the time that we've been here, which is a little bit over a week now. We spent the first few days just treasure hunting in the woods. And this was a great opportunity to not only get a sense of the type of materials that were there, but also for Yuri and I to start to connect in a creative sense.
So the first day, we are not sure what we're gonna make. We are kind of looking for interesting curve or interesting movement the tree or branches originally had. So it was really fun, just getting into woods and looking for more, oh, that's kind of like interesting. Oh, this is cool.
Rather than being in a workshop environment, we've actually been in the woods. So the connection, I think, is really strongly embedded not only in the material but also in the work.
And we removed the bark and we tried to minimize changing it from the natural form and emphasizing the natural beauty that tree already has. That's kind of like taking something from nature to sculpture.
I feel sort of like I'm in conversation with those seeds. And I wanted other people to sort of get that feeling, like they're not just looking at nature, nature is kind of looking at them. A lot of people are scared of art. You know, art is just a language. I like showing people that art can talk about very heavy, hard concepts, but it can also talk about joy and about play and about delight. The piece I'm working on right now, maybe it's a little scary, a little bit like a monster, just a little bit, but it's also fun and joyful and playful. Maybe the joy is like a vehicle for delivering a message.
I think that there's kind of a non-discursive language when you're looking at something and it's all done through visual references and through color or through shape. And then I think that's something that everyone can understand and everyone can take part of it.
I think part of design is personal expression. You know, it could be, how do I get the message across that people need to read about bees? People need to educate themselves. And so that's why I was thinking of the little library. So it's really important that you start with maybe something traditional and very straightforward and, you know, take the creative thought out of it.
In terms of design and thinking contemporary design, what I'm doing is sort of thinking about that past, but also what those forms can say about the future. So I'm using that form, but I'm abstracting it or manipulating it. People see a form that's familiar, but then they realize there's something different going on here. Design is all decision making, and we have a lot of very important decisions to make. But I also think we have to slow down and take the time that sustainability requires.
When I paint the base, the ground color red, it seals the wood for one, so it's like a gesso on a canvas. But when I sand the color, you get little hints of red popping through, and it warms things up. It warms the piece up, and you don't really notice it. Furniture is something you use, you touch, and it's in your environment. You interact with it constantly. Well, sculpture is a little bit different. This is a museum and you don't touch the piece, but I want people to. I want people to come and touch, and I make surfaces that are pleasurable. So the color to me is sensual and pleasurable, but the touch, the feel is also pleasurable. So that's part of it, and wood can do that easily.
I really enjoy the combination both of natural wood and painted surfaces, and I respond really well when I see other people doing that. Wood is a really warm medium, friendly medium. It's also a material I really enjoy working with. It's challenging, it can be rewarding and frustrating at the same time. Again, for me, wood it's like a canvas. I can just go ahead and make it start fitting the idea that I have in mind.
One of the things I like about wood is I actually understand the whole process from the tree in the forest all the way to the finished product. So my understanding of what the wood is doing as it grows in the forest is very important for how it acts as I work on it in the shop. If it's managed correctly as a resource, wood can very effectively engage in a system of sustainability.
I think several of us are borrowing on those traditional formats, like of a table or a chest. But I think that what is great about contemporary furniture and the wood design group is that we're able to utilize this traditional format and techniques, but as a communication device. Subtle angle.
Really, we're not trying to achieve anything that is shocking, and the way we're working with this piece is that we are joining elements that are they've changed throughout their life. We're working with that system of change, and I think every viewer is different. They bring different experiences to what they're viewing.
Well, since we are working on really abstract, so it's like a kind of open dialogue between material and the viewer. Some people may see something that are existing in this world, but some people may not see anything. It's just the beauty of that tree.
Wood design can help to change people's perceptions of what they think woodworking should be. The possibilities are almost infinite.
Oh gosh, design is so many things. It's thinking, it's learning, it's patience, it's discovery.
Probably wood design needs a design process, and a design process means that you have inspiration, and then you transform the inspiration into the actual finished work.
You know, a lot of design is about function, but I think design is also thinking. And to me, wood design is basically thinking about the world and thinking about life with the material wood.
I think wood design, it's makers that are using wood in order to explore ideas about creativity. You'd find that most of the people that are working in the design group this year know quite a bit about the history of furniture. We design functional objects, but we're interested in the expressive potential of those objects.
Wood design is interesting because it's just we're using those techniques in new, adventurous, non-traditional ways. It helps sort of expand people's understanding of the material and the possibilities of the material.
The pleasing part about design is, oh, I recognize this, but it's so new, it's so different, it feels different, it looks different. I interact with it differently, but there is an awareness of what it is.
You see all these cool developments, like technological developments and design changes. We want to make pieces that make people think about that, that inspire people to think about that.
I think when you talk about wood design, the way I interpret that is it's designing how to use wood.
There's many girls that enjoy working with wood. Working together as a community is very important. I think World Wood Day is all about community. I think generating question is good. If somebody comes and looks at the work, what is that? Why? Then we can explain. If they understand, that's great. If they don't, maybe they'll think about it. To me, contemporary art and craft and design is about always changing. You must change to maintain. I think we need to move forward. You have to maintain that movement. But in order to do so, you have to accept change.
I think that's what we hope. The design can make changes, or design can make people to think.
To me, design is the mechanics to get to the art. So in a way, yes, design is a facilitator of change in that it helps you create the piece.
I think change in order to maintain relevancy. You know, if we're doing the same thing over and over and over again, people stop looking. So I think we need to change and put our own perspectives into the material. And through that, it becomes unique and individual, and people look at it and they notice it, and so it maintains viability and relevancy.